morning. How's it going? Hey, Mom. Morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is it going? Whew, a little bit yawny. I almost forgot. I'm going a little bit faster. Oh, cool. What are you seeing? Sounds exciting. My weekend was good. I saw my family. I watched my aunt perform a concert. Very exciting. It was a very fun, cute concert. It was a really cool thing, actually, I have to say. My aunt is a lawyer here in Los Angeles and the surrounding areas. And the concert that I went to was an entire orchestra and choir entirely built up of judges, lawyers, paralegals, and law students who do this as like a volunteer thing, and they raise money for people who can't afford legal services through these concerts. But like, they were actually really talented, and especially the musicians who played in the orchestra. I was like, these aren't easy pieces, and this isn't these people's job. Like, these are lawyers. Their job isn't to be in an orchestra. And we're not talking about playing like freaking Happy Birthday. We're talking about playing like, do you guys know the orchestral piece, The Planets, like Mars and Jupiter? Like, these are like intense pieces that people know, and they were playing those. A woman came out who has like she's like one of the top 100 lawyers in California, and she has a law degree from Harvard and her undergrad from Yale, and she also has a piano master's from Juilliard. Who are these people? Like, wild town. It was very cool. So she did like a Beethoven piano concerto with the orchestra. It was wild. It was wild. So yeah, it was really interesting. Yeah. And then they did a lot of Broadway tunes. Morning, Nasa. Hey, Addie. Hey, Stephanie. A lot of Broadway show tunes and stuff. The only thing that I was a little bit sad about is I didn't feel like the choir was mic'd properly, but the orchestra was great. Hey, Karen. The choir was great when I could hear them. Lots of fun. Yeah, it was cool. It was pretty cool. I was pretty surprised to see how good the orchestra was specifically. That did take me by surprise. They had every instrument, The violin players were outstanding, Just wild. Just wild stuff. Very cool, though. Very, very cool. I was super impressed. All around impressive. Yeah. Hey, Kristen. What did everyone else do this weekend? Anything cool? Anyone do anything fun? Oh, excuse me. Anyone do anything fun this weekend? I found your account just the other day after losing touch with Slime. We met at Slimetopia in Tacoma. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. How cool. That was a long time ago, Brooke. Your nephew turned 1. Did you have a themed birthday party? What was the theme? My nephew turned 1 recently, and his theme was Star Wars Light versus Dark Side, because, that's right, you adopted the Phantom Menace. Because my sister almost gave birth on Star Wars Day, so that's why we did the Star Wars party. Rookie of the Year. I don't know if you remember, but it was Mythical Slime. But oh my gosh, that's so cool. Are you going to get back into making slime, or are you just hanging out with us today? We saw Inside Out 2 yesterday, too. It was so good. It may be too good. Secret Husband was laughing like crazy. Like, it was so funny to see him laugh like that at a movie. Like, there were some moments that he was like, that was too real. They did too good of a job. we're both Pixar fans already. My house is getting renovated, so I dealt with that all weekend. Fun was stressful. Oh, I want to see Inside Out too, but I don't really want to go to the theater. We don't go that often, but felt like it was worth it for this one, Sloth. It was really cool. Is Slimu still in New York? Yeah, they have them all over the place now, Brooke. Yeah, I was shocked how good it was. I don't know if I would say I was shocked because I always expect good things from Pixar. I wasn't shocked, but definitely happy about how good it was. I got my last photo from Come with the Star Trek Next Generation. Oh, so exciting. Was Anthony Rapp there by any chance? Wasn't he in that at some point? Am I misremembering? I'm on a guinea pig duty this weekend for Mondays. That's really funny. Babysitting a guinea pig. Babysitting a guinea pig. All right, let us. Yeah, you thought it was just gonna be like regular good, not like good good. He's in Discovery. I got a picture with him a few years ago. I was his handler basically, Jen, on If Then. So I spent a lot of time with him. Peanut's a cute name. Canceled softball tournament this weekend, so we went to see it. We loved it. Why was the softball tournament canceled? I hope for a good reason. Saw the Watchers in the theater and I thought it was lame. Have you seen it? No, I don't even know what that is. What is it? I've never even heard of it, boo. Inside Out was great though. Can't recommend it enough. I don't think you need to have seen the first one to enjoy the second one, but I think it's good to see the first one first. So you like get some of the jokes, you know. It was a little warm yesterday, Anya, but I wouldn't call it a heat wave. That makes sense, Amanda. Horror movie. Oh, I would never, boo. He really was, Jen. I have to say, I had a great time with him. He asked a lot of questions. He was very engaged. He wasn't like a stuck-up person to be a handler for or anything like that. 109. Oh no, here it was like 75. It hit 80 at one point this weekend, but even that's not that much. Yeah, Anthony, I think he was a very real person because like the show that he and I were working on wasn't doing really well, like box office numbers wise, and he was disappointed, which I mean, like you can commiserate with that, right? Like nobody would think that hey Becca, nobody would think that that's unwarranted to be like, oh man, my show's not doing so good, you know what I mean? But he didn't ever say like, well, we're all stars, why isn't our show doing well? He just would say like, hey, do you have any idea why it's not resonating when other things that are similar do resonate? You know, he would ask like really genuine questions about it. He never was stuck up about it or anything like that. You could tell he was hurt, but so was I. You know what I mean? So we just commiserated over stuff like that. He was cool. He was a nice guy. I'm sure he still is. I don't say was because he's still around. I just don't work with him anymore. But yes, we worked on a show that did not succeed, and that is always a bonding experience because, you know, it might be nice to work on a hit, but working on a flop is, whew, it's hard. Working on a flop is hard, you guys. Oh, it's so hard. I started Tale of Witchcraft yesterday. Yes, it's so good. We're in it to win it with this series. I tell you what, friends. Speaking of Tale of Witchcraft, we're pretty much at the halfway point right now, which is exciting. It is hard, Jen. I want to say the two hardest things I've ever had to do in my work life are working on a show that you love that people don't understand, but you do. That is crushing. And the other hardest thing has been trying to market an independent book. Those two things are, it's the same kind of like emotionally difficult, you know? How many chapters are there, Tale of Witchcraft? That's a great question. I don't know. Let's find out. There are... Oh, that was the last one. Hold on, I went too far. It looks like there are 19 chapters, and we are currently on chapter 9. So not quite halfway as far as chapters go, but as far as pages go, we're a little over halfway. So there must be some shorter chapters in the next part because there's 10 chapters left, but less. Well, there's also a prologue, so I guess it's technically 20 days worth of reading. So we are halfway then, right? Basically. I don't know. That seems right to me.
because we had the prologue. He always has a prologue, which honestly, I have to tell you, I don't usually love a prologue, but from Chris, I love a prologue. They're not always good, but he knows what to do with a prologue. Yeah. So anyway, let's get to reading. All right. Let's do it. Chapter 9. Potions and Curses. Eesh. It was a good thing their closest neighbors were miles away, because the fumes wafting out of the Ravencrest chimney were anything but pleasant. The witches were in the kitchen brewing potions and wore clothespins on their noses to ward off the smell. For their third entrance exam, Lucy and Pip had each selected a recipe from an old book of potions and did their best to follow the instructions. As they mixed the bizarre ingredients into their cauldrons, the potions bubbled and gleamed with bright colors. "Remember to always stir clockwise," Mistress Mara said as she paced between them, "and make sure that your measurements are precise. One lizard scale more, one crow feather less, and your potion could end in disaster." Lucy was trying to make a brew that was an ease elixir, a concoction someone could drink to make all of life's challenges seem easy, but ironically, the potion was incredibly complicated to create. Pip seemed much more confident with her potion and whistled while she chopped up scorpion tails and sprinkled them into her potion. Lucy read her recipe over and over again, but it might as well have been written in a different language. 4 goblets of platypus broth, 6 chalices of donkey dandruff, 3 pickled peacock feet, 1 liberal leech, an elf spoon of emu gizzard. She read, "What the heck is an elf spoon?" "Oh, it's a 1/4 teaspoon," she whispered. "Don't forget to add the eye of newt," Sprout suggested. "It's like butter for witches," Bibi said. "Girls, please stop helping Lucy," Mistress Mara said. "She is supposed to do this on her own. Stay focused on your own assignment." While Lucy and Pip made potions for their exams, Stitches, Sprout, and Bibi were brewing something else in a cauldron the size of a bathtub. "Yeah, well, what are you guys making?" Lucy asked. "It's for the enrollment ceremony tomorrow night," Sprout said. "Don't worry, you'll find out soon enough," Stitches said. "Assuming you pass the exams," Bibi said. At this point, Lucy wasn't sure that she would. It was incredibly difficult to concentrate on the potion with all the questions she had about what she had seen and heard the night before. What exactly were Mistress Mara and the Horned One planning? What kind of curse was the witch trying to produce? And why hadn't it worked before? And why did it require a host? And most concerning of all, if Mistress Mara was successful, how would it put King Champion the 14th, Bristol, and mankind all in danger? The questions were daunting and worrisome, but if Lucy failed the entrance exam and got kicked out of Ravencrest, she would never find the answers she needed to stop this witch. So she tried to quiet her troubled mind and put all her energy into finishing her potion. Lucy went to the supply shelf for her missing liberal leech and an elf spoon of emu gizzard. Finding the right ingredients was the hardest part of making these potions. Lucy searched a pot of leeches for a liberal one, but she couldn't tell what their political views were, so she just picked one at random. She didn't know which jar contained emu gizzard because the majority of the ingredients were all named gizzard. Lucy selected the gizzard that looked the most bird-like and hoped it was the correct one. She added the leech and the gizzard to her potion and then double-checked the recipe's final instructions. "Ye wath wish for completion, made doeth by bestowal of childhood remembrance," she read aloud. "Oh, I understand. To finish my potion, I have to give it a childhood memory. Well, I suppose I wouldn't really miss remembering all the time. And then suddenly Lucy couldn't recall what memory she was talking about, but her potion bubbled with more intensity than before. "Yeah, well, I think I'm done," she announced. "I need just one more second," Pip said. She reached into her pocket and dropped in the spotted fungi and purple-leaved shrubbery Sprout had recommended the night before. No, I don't want to add a random person to my life. Pip's potion churned and turned bright blue. "Finished," she said. "Fantastic," Mistress Mara said. "Pip, you had such wonderful beginner's luck yesterday. Let's start with you. Tell us which potion you selected and give us a demonstration." "I chose the Tooth Tonic," Pip said. "It's supposed to grow teeth on everything it touches." Pip held up the wooden spoon she was using to stir the potion, and it was covered with dozens of human teeth. "I guess it demonstrates itself," she said. "Terrific work, Pip," Mistress Mara said. "Lucy, which potion did you choose?" Lucy lost confidence after seeing how successful Pip's potion was. Her final product looked nothing like the illustration in the book of potions. Instead of a smooth green liquid, the potion was brown and chunky. Lucy felt sick just looking at it, so she improvised. Actually, I crafted my own potion," she said. "I call it indigestion draft. It's guaranteed to give you the worst stomachache of your life. Anyone want to try it?" The witches glanced inside her cauldron and almost puked. "No thanks," Sprout said. "We believe you," Stitches said. "Good job, Lucy," Phoebe said. Mistress Mara eyed the potion with a doubtful gaze. "Congratulations, girls. You've both passed the third exam." Lucy knew she wasn't fooling Mistress Mara, but once again, the witch had to let her shortcomings slide. She didn't understand why Mistress Mara was turning a blind eye to her failure unless Mistress Mara had a reason for keeping her around. Whatever the reason was, Lucy was grateful for it. She had her own reason for sticking around Ravencrest. Once the potion exam was complete, Mistress Mara took Pip and Lucy into the graveyard by themselves. Stitches, Phoebe, Sprout stayed behind to work on the potion for the enrollment ceremony. The invisible butler was waiting for them outside and held a black ceramic vase decorated with the face of a ferocious lion. "For your fourth and final entrance exam, we'll be covering the most important part of witchcraft and, well, my personal favorite, curses," Mistress Mara told the girls. Lucy and Pip looked at each other with anxious eyes, already fearing what the next examination might entail. Although the word itself does have negative connotations, a curse can be a very positive, depending on your point of view, Mistress Mara said. Fairies pride themselves on rewarding good deeds, healing the sick, and giving to the needy, but not everyone deserves to be helped. On the contrary, some people deserve to be punished for their wicked ways. Too often, the same people get away with the same sins over and over again. When their cruelty goes unchecked, when the law fails to avenge the mistreated, and when saying what goes around comes around just isn't enough, sometimes a curse is the only source of justice. I know, Avery, I feel the same way. I feel bad for Pip, yeah. Curses are similar to jinxes and hexes, but, well, more complex. They can be applied to the living or inanimate, and occasionally an entire environment. Curses can last for as long as you wish, and they're extremely difficult, if not impossible, to remedy with magic. They're fueled by anger, and the more pain and fury within us, the more powerful our curses can be, while plenty of advanced curses are required for specific conditions to activate them. The kind that we'll be focusing on today just requires a bit of imagination. Yeah, the teeth was bad, Becca. It was bad. Gross. No, that bad. Mistress Mara took the black vase from the invisible butler. For the next exam, we'll be taking a little field trip, the witch said. This vase may seem small and unassuming, but it's a very powerful tool we call a Vex vessel. With one drop of blood, the vase will bring you face to face with the person or persons who caused you the most physical or emotional pain. To complete the exam, you must vindicate your suffering by cursing the offenders of your past. It may be surprising to see who and where the Vex vessel takes you. And although the three of us will be traveling together, only you will be visible. Confronting the people who have hurt you is never easy, but I promise nothing is more exhilarating than the empowerment you will feel after. I find it's rather addicting to hold the corrupt responsible. Mistress Mara raised the vase towards Pip, and the invisible butler handed Pip a pin. Pip cautiously peered into the vase like it contained a poisonous spider. "Oh, don't be scared, dear," the witch said. "Wherever it takes you, I will be right by your side." "Actually, I know exactly where it's going to take me," she said. Pip took a deep breath and pricked her finger, and the pin let the blood drip into the vase. The vessel suddenly became so heavy that Mistress Mara had to set it on the ground. As if the vase had turned Pip's drop into a fountain, a geyser of blood shot out of it with the power of a volcano. The blood swirled around in the air, completely surrounding them. And once the graveyard disappeared from sight, the blood returned to the vase, and all the girls discovered that they had been transported to a different part of the world. Mistress Mara, Lucy, and Pip were standing on a hill in the middle of a dry, desolate plain. There was nothing but parched earth for miles around them, except for one building that sat on top of a hill. It was a large, 5-story structure with crumbling walls, broken windows, and a crooked chimney. The building was surrounded by a tall stone wall with spikes at the top. "What is this place, a prison?" Lucy asked. "Worse," Pip said. "It's the Bootstrap Correctional Facility." Even though it was late, they found a man and a woman doing chores in the yard. The man was shaped like an upside-down pear, and he wore an unraveled bow tie and was hard at work patching a hole in the side of the building. The woman was taller than the man and shaped like a cucumber. She wore a lacy dress with a high collar and used a hoe to plow the dirt of a wilted vegetable garden. The couple looked utterly exhausted, as if they hadn't had a good night's rest in years. The man took a break to wipe his sweaty brow and noticed Pip standing nearby. Just like Mistress Mara had said, Pip was the only one the couple could see. Mr. Edgar scowled at Pip. "Where did she come from?" he grumbled. His wife looked up, matching the scowl that appeared on his face. "The facility is closed," Mrs. Edgar said. "We don't take delinquents anymore. Go back to wherever you came from." The sound of their voices made Pip tense, like she was in the presence of 2 dangerous predators. She tried to run away, but Mistress Mara stopped her. "You can do this," the witch said. "Make them pay for the anguish that they caused you." Pip closed her eyes and gathered up all the courage to face them. Mr. and Mrs. Edgar," she said. It's Pip. Pip Squeak." "Who?" the man scoffed. "You don't remember me?" Pip asked. Mrs. Edgar folded her arms. "Oh, why should we?" she asked. "But because I lived here for most of my life," Pip said. "I was the girl who kept sneaking out at night. I used to squeeze through the bars and doors and wander the halls, and I used to borrow blankets from your closet." "Oh, she's one of them," Mr. Edgar told his wife. The woman angrily tossed her hoe aside. "How dare you show your face here again?" she yelled. "We were kind enough to give you a home. We tried to cure you of a demonic disease, and then you heathens ran off with a fairy godmother. You put good people out of work and put an honorable establishment out of business." "Honorable?" Pip asked in disbelief. "You abused hundreds of innocent girls. You starved us and forced us to work like slaves. You filled our heads with lies and made us ashamed of who we were. You were horrible, horrible people." "You should be ashamed," Mr. Edgar said. "We lost everything because of you, and now we have to work day and night just to survive. Get off our property at once, you skip sheet." "It's Pip," she repeated. "Pip Squeak." All of Pip's trepidation quickly turned into rage. She thought about the Edgars every day since she had left the facility and seen their faces at night in her nightmares. Pip would never forget the horrible things they'd done to her, and yet they didn't even remember her name. She clenched her jaw and stared daggers at the Edgars, and then all of a sudden the ground started to rumble under their feet. "That's right, Pip," Mistress Mara said. "Relive all those painful memories. Think about the terrible things that happened here. Feel all the sadness that it caused you. Let your anger rise to the surface, and now, unleash it!" The ground started to shake so hard that the Bootstrap Correctional Facility began to sway. The Edgars grabbed hold of each other and they could barely stay on their feet. "She's bewitching us!" Mr. Edgar shouted. "Lord help us! She's been sent straight from the devil!" Mrs. Edgar cried. Pip let out an angry roar and reached toward the facility. Brick by brick, the building started to break apart, but the structure didn't collapse to the ground. Instead, the wreckage floated into an enormous pile, and as the pile rose higher and higher, it formed the silhouette of a giant monster. The wreckage came to life and growled at the Edgars. The couple screamed and ran away as fast as they could, but the monster stomped after them, chasing the Edgars into the horizon. "Absolutely outstanding," Mistress Mara said. "Equally vicious and vindicative. Congratulations, Pip. You have passed your final exam." Casting the curse had knocked the wind out of Pip, but she was thrilled to hear it. "Wow, She panted. You were right, Mistress Mara. That felt great. How long will that thing be chasing after them? Lucy asked. One day for every girl that they hurt, Pip said. But who knows how long they'll take. I don't know who reads better, you or the author. I haven't listened to him read it because I don't want it to influence any of my voices, but I would love to listen to him read it someday. I'd actually love to go to one of his live readings one day. I think it would be so cool. I love him so much. Well, as a matter of fact, you'll know precisely how long it takes, Mistress Mara said. The witch gestured to 2 jack-o'-lanterns that had appeared on the lawn. The pumpkins had lifelike carvings of Mr. and Mrs. Edgar's faces, and Mistress Mara collected the jack-o'-lanterns and handed them to Pip. Well, that's what I was thinking too, Becca. It's going to be Bristol. It has to be, right? I would assume. Or the other fairies. All of them. You have more voices and personality. I don't know if maybe he just didn't mean for them to have more I don't know. I love doing it, though. I love reading these. It makes me so happy. It brings me so much joy. I find infinite joy in reading these characters. He gave me fodder for happiness, essentially. And I'll tell him that straight to his face. Chris, you gave me every happiness. Good job, sir. These are called curse counters, the witch said. One will appear after every curse you cast. If you're ever curious about the progress of your curse, just inspect the black candle inside. The candles burn as long as the curse is still active. The higher the wick, the more time the curse has left. What should I do? Ah! Pip suddenly dropped the pumpkins and fell onto her hands and knees. She screamed in agony as a large bump appeared at the base of her spine. It grew bigger and bigger by the second until something hairy ripped through the back of Pip's cloak. She glanced over her shoulder and was terrified and horrified to see that she had grown a bushy black and white tail. The curse turned me into a skunk, she exclaimed. Don't let the side effects ruin the moment, dear, Mistress Mara said. That was one of the finest entry-level curses I have ever seen. You should be nothing but proud of yourself, and I guarantee the Edgars won't forget the name Pip Squeak after tonight. More like Pip Stink, Lucy said under her breath. Mistress Mara turned toward her. Well, that brings us to you, Lucy. Are you ready to prove yourself with your final exam? I suppose so, but that was a really tough act to follow, she said. Unlike Pip, Lucy didn't know who or where the Vex vessel was about to take them to. She pricked her finger with the pin and let her blood drip into the vase. Once again, a geyser erupted from the vase and wrapped around them. When the parched landscape was completely covered, the blood rapidly returned to the Vex vessel, and they found themselves in a new location. Mistress Mara, Lucy, and Pip had been transported to the backstage of a theater. They were standing between a row of cardboard trees and the backdrop of a scenic lake. Ahead of them, 2 enormous red curtains had been drawn shut, and the girls saw the shadows of 7 people dancing on the other side. They could hear the rustle of the large audience beyond the dancers, and somewhere close by a live orchestra was playing classical music. Lucy recognized the venue immediately. Oh no, she gasped. It's the old Spinster Theater in the Eastern Kingdom. They must be in the middle of a show. Oh? Pip asked. She goofed. The Binkle sisters. The music momentarily stopped playing. The dancers struck a pose. The audience gave the performers a round of applause. And as the praise died down, 7 tall, lean ballerinas slipped through the curtain. They were all very beautiful and wore elegant white tutus. Okay, girls, we have 2 minutes to change for Act 3, the tallest one said. The Binkle sisters headed for a row of black tutus, but came to a halt when they noticed Lucy standing backstage. Hey, no fans allowed backstage until after the show, said the smallest one. Lucy gave the ballerinas an awkward wave. Hi there, Gina, Lena, Mina, Nina, Tina, Vina, and Zena, she said. It's Vina. A long time. Remember me? Wait a second. Is that who I think it is? Oh my gosh, it is her. It's Fat Lucy. She's still living. We haven't seen you in like years, or should I say meals. We've missed you, Fat Lucy. Where have you been? Besides lunch! The Binkle sisters burst into a fit of giggles. Lucy blushed at their mean comments, and her bottom lip quivered. Being near the ballerinas made Lucy feel like she was 8 years old all over again. For the first time in years, Lucy's trademark wit and sarcasm abandoned her, and she didn't know how to defend herself. No, I don't perform as much as I used to, Lucy said. I was living in the fairy territory for a while, but recently I've been looking for a change. Of what? Pants? So what brings you here, fat Lucy? Are you getting back into show business, or did someone mention dessert? Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any openings for that, or anything that can fit you. You've always been a wrecking ball. Lucy's eyes filled with tears. She looked to the floor. Yeah, actually, I lost a little weight since the last time I saw you, she said. Oh, don't worry. I'm sure you'll find it. Have you looked under that double chin? The Binkle sisters laughed hysterically and couldn't stop themselves. Unbeknownst to the ballerinas, Mistress Mara strolled to Lucy's side and whispered in her ear. They may still be predators, but you aren't their prey anymore, the witch said. You're not the little girl they remember. You've grown in ways they never will. You've crossed bridges they could never dream of stepping on. Now prove it to them. Lucy had gone into this exam with deep reservations, but now she felt herself agreeing with Mistress Mara. Some people did deserve to be cursed. The orchestra played the opening notes of the third act, and as the music swelled into a crescendo, Lucy swelled into hers too. She bit her lip and groaned at the chuckling ballerinas. Suddenly, the curtain flew open and the cardboard trees caught on fire. The backdrop started to melt. The Binkle sisters stopped laughing and looked around in terror. The audience thought it was part of the show and sat on the edge of their seats. Lucy pointed at the ballerinas one at a time, and they started to spin out of control. They spun, their necks stretched, their legs shrank, and their tutus began to molt. By the time the orchestra finished the climactic song, Lucy had transformed the Binkle sisters into 7 squawking swans. The audience was amazed and gave Lucy a standing ovation. It had been a long time since Lucy felt the warmth of applause, so she took a grand bow and basked in their affection. The audience threw a rose at her feet. They cheered until their voices became hoarse. They clapped until their hands were sore. And 7 curse counters appeared on the stage. Lucy felt a tingling sensation at the top of her head. She dashed to the mirror in the wings and let out a horrified gasp. The curse had turned the rest of her hair and even her eyebrows into fluffy white feathers. Now, what have I done? She shrieked. Now I look like a daffodil. Mistress Mara appeared in the mirror behind Lucy and beamed with a sinister smile. Well done, Lucy, the witch said. Not only have you passed your 4th and final exam, but you also gave the performance of your life. You're an inspiration to witches everywhere. Lucy was mortified as she ran her fingers over her fully feathered head. She was still determined to stay at Ravencrest and stop Mistress Mara's secret plot, but until now, Lucy had never realized what saving the world might cost her. Well, that was certainly something, I will say. Certainly something. Bad, not good. I have to tell you all, I feel like we're not going to get a conclusion at the end of this book. It's just something in my gut that's telling me it is going to continue into the next book. Like, we are not getting a conclusion. I just don't. I know, me too, Jen. I really thought it was going to bring her to Bristol. I'm so glad it wasn't Bristol. I'm so glad. Question about slime. Yeah, Roxy, what's up? So glad it wasn't Bristol, but still very nervous. The thing is, I love Lucy so much. I love her so much. The next book is... You know, it doesn't say at the front of this one. I can't... Oh, A Tale of Sorcery. A Tale of Sorcery, yes. Amanda's amazing. I know. Me too, Sloth. Me too. It's a love-hate relationship. You're absolutely right. I know, you guys. I know. We have to know. Can you make a small trial of textures? Yeah, we have that, Roxy. We call them slime flights. They're like sampler packs, and you get 2 ounces of a bunch of different textures. There are going to be 2 different slime flights available in Tuesday's restock. One is going to be crunchy textures, and one is going to be soft textures. So yes, the answer is yes. They each have 6 textures in them, so you can choose what you want to play with. And you get to test out all the different little bits and bobs. Yeah. Can and has, yes. Can you make slime? No, I don't know how. Oh, for sure, we're not getting a conclusion this day. Yeah, we're not. Have all the pre-orders gone out? Jen, yours goes out today. The last pre-orders are the ones that had 2 of the Pride kits in them. The Trans Pride and the Pan Pride were the last ones to be made, so those are all going out today. I'm down to the last 5 orders, and Jen, yours is in them because those were the ones that included those 2 particular flags. Everything else is out. I want to know if I have the right putty texture. Yeah, there's a putty in the flight kit, but you can also just get it in 2 ounce if you want. Yeah, all of the pre-orders will be out well before Deborah. You know where you can put that. All the pre-orders will be out long before the 6 slimes. Yes, Miles, 6 slimes for you, baby. I have putty to play with from Friday. That's true. Yeah, you'll get yours fast because yours, Jen, your package is big enough that it automatically defaults to what do I call it? The restock is for public too. The restock on Tuesday is for the public. That's correct. We've already done all the pre-orders for Patreon. So the restock on Tuesday at 5 p.m. is public facing, and there will be about 300 slimes in it, which I think is solid, right? You know, that's a good amount. And like I said, 2 slime flights, 1 crunchy, 1 soft will be in there. Table slime. You know what? I prefer table slime to floor slime, like tomorrow, Tuesday. Yeah, like tomorrow, Tuesday, Avery. And for anyone who hasn't looked at the playlist yet and wants to see the slimes that are available tomorrow, there's a playlist called June Slimes, and in there is like videos and pictures of the slimes available tomorrow. I'll be posting more about it today, but that is where I'll post the flights today. I haven't posted the flights yet, but everything else should be in that playlist, so you can kind of get a look at them first. You know, all that fun. Yes, 5 o'clock tomorrow will be the public restock. I will be live, obviously, during that time to answer questions and such what, as always. And that's pretty much the whole kit and caboodle, you know? Yeah. So I've been obsessed with Gum Under the Desk. It's a good one, right? It's a good texture. It's good texture. All right, I will probably be on later today to make slime, like base for this week's roll for slimes, because I'm pretty much out of everything right now. So I'll do that later. Don't know what time, but I will see you all whenever that is, this afternoon. Bye guys, have a great day till then.